Hey guys, Anthony here, and today I want to talk about a certain inbuilt mechanism that we've been given by our Creator for the sake of succeeding in achieving our goals. A mechanism that we're not used to know about or even use, and that can favor each one of us in whatever goals that it is that we want to achieve, whether it's get answers to problems, invent new things, run a business, develop a better personality, achieve success in different realms, having more peace of mind, or building healthier and finding love or healthy relationships with friends, family, or other lovers, right? And so the example I want to give to for that mechanism, which is the success mechanism, is actually an example of a compass in a certain movie called The Black Pearl, which is the first Pirate of the Caribbean, right? And in the subsequent ones. Well, actually, Jack Sparrow, the main character, he has a certain compass that was given to him, right? And it's a supernatural compass that actually points not towards the north to help him navigate the waters. No, it points towards the thing that he desires the most. And that's actually an example of how our success mechanism works because it exemplifies how our mind, especially the subconscious mind, function in a teleological way, in a sense, in a way that it's a goal striving mechanism which allows us to register a goal that we have a great desire for, and then starts giving us information through all of our subconscious mind that is tied to this universal mind, this part of our mind that has access to a whole lot more information that we're not aware of, to all information actually. Well, it starts feeding that space in our mind and giving us information to create the how do we get to that destination, right? It's a compass. It's like a GPS, and that GPS works regardless of what time of the day it is, what's the situation, financial situation, economical, political situation in the world, right? As long as there's a goal coordinates that are entered, the GPS is going to create the pathway itself. So whatever goal that you have that you think, okay, how am I going to achieve it? How am I going to get there, right? It's a mechanism that you can use when you can use different factors like which is being used for different factors, but you can use it when you're in that situation when you're not sure of the how and you desire direction. And once you enter the coordinates, I'm going to explain the factors, the keys, the three keys that you use to enter those coordinates to create that goal in your mind. That the mechanism will then start feeding you information or revelation, and even how, in what state of mind you need to be for it to receive that information, that pathway that builds itself as you walk, right? And so, yeah, it's this idea that when you think about it, really, the Creator God, we were built for success, not for failure, not to be stuck in a loop, repeating the same mistake. No, we were built for success. You can even use that success mechanism to create for yourself a better personality, discover a new part of yourself, right? And so the three factors, the three keys that you want to use to actually start using that mechanism is the key of rest or mindfulness, rest, peace, right? Which is the opposite of state of a state of rest, which is the opposite of a state of fight or flight. And then there's the second key, which is desire, having an intent, a desire to achieve something, achieve a goal. And then the third key is the key of imagination. So first of all, I want to this sex mechanism. It comes from the book Psycho-Cybernetic by Maxwell Waltz, which describes the power of our subconscious mind and also the function, a hidden function in our minds that we're not used to. That I wish that I could have read when I was maybe not 5 years old, but as soon as I could read it, because there's so many keys in that book. So I want to talk about a story about how it says that a way that success mechanism functions, which is you see it becomes even a bit mystical, a bit beyond the three-dimensional world that we have. So it's a story of Louis Agassiz, right? Let me just see. It's he was a geologist and a zoologist who was into extinct fishes and the movement of glaciers. And so his story talks about. Let me just find it real quick. Yes, so Louis Agassiz, he was that scientist, that zoologist. He liked discovering extinct fishes. So he had been striving to decipher the somehow obscure impression of a fossil fish on the stone slab in which it was preserved. At the time, he was very perplexed, so he put his work aside, right, and tried to decipher it, but he put it aside for a time and tried to dismiss it from his mind. And shortly after that, he woke up in the middle of the night, persuaded that while asleep he had seen his fish with all the missing fish features perfectly restored. So the image of the fish was perfectly restored, but not in physical, but it came to him in a dream. And so he went to Jardin des Plantes, thinking that looking anew at the impression, he would see something to put him on the track of his vision. In vain, in vain, the blurred record was as blank as ever. The next night he saw the fish again, but when he waked, it disappeared from his memory as before. Hoping the same experience might be repeated, on the third night he placed a pencil and a paper beside his bed before going to sleep. Towards morning, the fish reappeared in his dream, confusedly at first, but at last with such distinctness that he no longer had any doubt as to its zoological characters. Still half dreaming, in perfect darkness, he traced these characters on the sheet of paper at the bedside. In the morning, he was surprised to see in his nocturnal sketch features which he thought it impossible the fossil itself would reveal. He hastened to the Jardin des Plantes, and with his drawing as a guide, succeeded in chiseling away the surface of the stone under which portions of the fish proved to be hidden. When wholly exposed, the fossil corresponded with his dream and his drawing, and he succeeded in classifying these. So basically, he was trying to uh, chisel away of the definition of the fish of an old fossil of a fish, in a stone slab, right? But the thing is, he didn't know how to start, how to do it. You don't want to chisel away at the part of the fish which is actually fossil. So he had this desire to do that. He had a target, which is the first key. Having a target, had a vision. What is the goal that you want to achieve when you start a creative process? Anything you have a goal that is being registered in your mind. This is what I want to achieve. You had a desire for it, right? That's the first step to start. It's like this heat-seeking missile, right? You have to learn the coordinates before sending the missile. The missile takes care of the weight, the how, but then okay, but the target, you need to input the target. The mechanism takes care of the how, and so in that way, how did it come about? It came when he had the desire, but he was trying to figure it out, and then he kind of went into a state of rest where he put it aside, out of his mind, right? He set it to fuse. He said he had a desire. Then he said wait, and then he put it aside. And it was when he was resting, asleep. Reminds me of the vision that Joseph had. Was it Joseph or Isaac? I think Isaac in the Bible when he was laying asleep on his head on a stone, right? And he had the vision of the ladder. In the same way, there's a key here that revelation come in a state of rest, not in a state of panic, not in a state of stress or forcing or fight or flight, but it stayed at rest, which is why for a success mechanism to work, having a mindfulness or meditation practice is so fundamental, so important. As you practice your mind, which is being driven left and right by the cares of the world, and put it back in a state where it can be at rest and receive revelation. So when he was at rest, that's when he saw the image of the fish, right? And there's another key here. He actually, it was after 3 nights that when he saw the revelation, he came and went, and he came and went. But then he actually received something, and then he wrote it down, right? That's a key for dreams. If you want to learn how to interpret your dreams, write them down. So he wrote them. He traced them. Actually, his image that he saw in his dream at night, right? He didn't even see the paper. He just drew it, and then he took it the morning. He saw so many precise details, right? And then he went to the Jardin des Plantes, Jardin des Places, and was the place where there was a fossil. He went back there and he saw, okay, and then he started chiseling away according to the image that he saw, and then it ended up the stone slab ended up matching perfectly with the image that he saw on a paper. So he received something from the, a higher realm, right, through his dreams, through the revelation, and then he went and used that in the physical, and it matched perfectly. This idea that we have our mind has access to different realms of information that opens up when we have the target. You know, that success mechanism, our words function more, our minds function more than just in the physical realm. And so you see this key again of rest, desire, and even imagination. So another key is to understand is that there is an answer. The answer exists now. The goal exists in the now. When you set out to do something, right? You write a song, you try to achieve a goal, win a championship. You assume that the end result is possible, that the goal is achievable, that it's accessible. There's a target. Again, the idea of the compass. True enough, this compass does not point north. It's a Jack Sparrow's compass. It points to the thing that you desire the most. So there's desire, there's an emotional charge, and then there's imagination, a mental charge. Emotion and mental, emotion and thought, right? When the two become one, when the positive and negative become one, male and female, then there's something that is birthed. That's how you enter the coordinates. And then you must use imagination again to see yourself having it in the now. You see yourself from the end because it's a goal striving mechanism. You see the end result, right? You sow the seed, right? And then the fruits, you don't force the seed to grow. The seed grows itself underground, underneath, under the conscious, in a place where it's works like an AI. You write the answer. What's the end goal? The answer in the Chat GPT, and then Chat GPT processes it, all the information, and gathers it, and then it comes out. And you must be at rest for it, the answers to come up. And so again, first, when it comes to the mechanism, you got to have a goal which either exists here already or in potential, right? It's maybe achieving a certain business success. You have a certain number. Me, it's achieving a certain number of subscribers. You know, maybe it's discovering something that exists already or in potential. Anyways, and two, it's understanding that it's goal oriented, meaning you don't need to figure out the how, but focus on the end result. You supply it the end goal, and it will supply to you the way to reach it. So the quote from Maxwell Waltz is, "Think in terms of the end result, and the means whereby will often take care of themselves." And there's those sometimes precious action steps that will come to you instead of rest, not instead of survival, not instead of panic, not instead of forcing it. You're not trying to force it. Again, sometimes you have to, when you have the desire for something, it only works when you stop caring about it. Yeah, you probably have examples in your life. You had something that you really wanted, you try it, and when you put it aside for a time, that's when the answer came. That's what the breakthrough came, right? So that's again the success mechanism in my life. I've seen it play out. I'm trying to achieve a place where I can get financial freedom through content creation, and I've done that practice multiple times. And I've got precise action steps. Like, there was a time where it was okay. I'm supposed to post to this amount of videos per this amount of days. Getting revelation to start actually posting. Came out flashes of inspiration. Start posting shorts and stuff like this. And each time I actually take those steps, I'm seeing an increase in viewers, increase in subscribers. So slowly and surely, I'm seeing and suddenly, when I decided I want to go that way, uh, I had made another decision that this time was led by the Holy Spirit, right? And in me receiving a computer that I'm using to editing my videos by my stepbrothers. He gave me a free editing Vegas Pro, which normally you would pay, but I got it for free with a free computer and all the stuff. It was like everything was already set up for me as I decided to be led by that intuition or be led by the Spirit. And so again, this is how the success mechanisms work. And when the world tells you, okay, the GPS works regardless of the state of the world. So if you have goals and you have fears, should I start now? Oh, the state of the world is bad. How can I achieve my financial success when things are bad, looking bad outside, economically, politically? The thing is, the GPS, the success mechanism, is internal. It works regardless of how things are happening externally. So that's an incitation to start building whatever it is for people who have their calling, their dreams, whatever any form of success they want to achieve, to start now. And the thing that stops us often the most is, how are we going to get there? What's the A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Sometimes you gotta see yourself, bring the end result to Z to the start, see yourself as that, and then you make that mechanism work. You practice rest, mindfulness, meditation, and in those times, boom, you get to A, you get to B, not to C, D, E, F, but you gotta start now. So again, yeah, bridging that end goal to the start. Anyways, that's pretty much all for today. So I wish you good luck in using that mechanism, and it's really game changer when you start applying it and getting more and more trust in it. So that's pretty much all for today. I wish you guys peace. A good day.